Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the regular City Council meeting of March 3rd at 4 p.m. Madam City Clerk, can we please call roll?
Councilmember Warren?
Here.
Councilmember DeForest?
Here.
Councilmember Stone?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Holliday?
Here.
Mayor Lavelle?
Here.
Let the record reflect all members are present.
Thank you. If we can all stand, I've asked Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Holliday to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Bishop Brian Connors.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stand up.
Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We come before thee and give thanks unto thee for the goodness of this land in which we live and for this city in which we dwell. We're grateful for our leaders of this city. We pray for thy abundant spirit to be upon them. At this time, our hearts are full with the conflict in the Middle East. We pray for our brothers and sisters in the armed forces, for their safety. We pray for our leaders that they may make wise choices. We pray for a swift and a quick resolution. Father, please forgive us of our sins and our shortcomings. Help us to follow thy words of loving thee and our neighbor. And help us always to remind us to help us to do thy will. We pray, Father, Heavenly Father, that thy Spirit may be with us this day and as we move forward. And we do this all in thy Son's holy name, even Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brian. All right, moving on. We have one presentation today. So at this time, I'd like to invite Chief Henry and Officer Hartwick up to the stand. To the stand. What is that?
Do I get a microphone?
The podium. There you go. Right. You can have a microphone. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you all for coming. Before I read this proclamation for Officer Hartwick, it means a lot for me to be the one to be able to stand up here and give this to him. I've known Aaron longer than anybody in this department. We started working together 26 something years ago in the city of San Diego, and here we are in March of 2026. So I'm glad I'm able to do this. So I'm glad we're in 4 font also. That's good. All right. Whereas Aaron Hartwick was raised in Hawaii and Southern California, where he developed the strong values of service that would guide his life and career. And whereas Officer Hartwick began his law enforcement career in 1999 with the San Diego Police Department, and then joined the City of Murrieta Police Department in 2006, and in 2016 undertook the specialized role of K-9 officer. And whereas Officer Hartwick has been happily married to Dina Hartwick for 13 years, and together they have 5 children and 11 grandchildren.
And today's our anniversary.
And today's the anniversary.
I didn't forget.
And whereas Officer Hartwick will retire as a K-9 officer after 19 years of dedicated service to the City of Murrieta, after serving with distinction as a K-9 officer, devoting countless hours to the development, training, and care of police service dogs regionally. And whereas Officer Hartwick further demonstrated his commitment to his colleagues and profession by serving for 14 years as a board member of the Murrieta Police Officers Association and as a member of the police department's social media team, and also as a member of the peer support team. And whereas Officer Hartwick further demonstrated his commitment to his colleagues and profession by serving for 14 years as a board member of the Murrieta Police Officers Association. I read that one. Sorry, the 14 font, sorry. And whereas the City of Murrieta extends its sincere congratulations to Officer Harwick on the occasion of his retirement and offers its best wishes for continued success and fulfillment in all future endeavors. Now, therefore, be it resolved, on behalf of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Murrieta, to hereby recognize and honor Police K-9 Handler Aaron Harwick for his exemplary service, unwavering dedication, and lasting contributions to the safety and well-being of the Murrieta community. Dated on this third day of March, 2026.
Sure.
Good.
Oh, you want to talk first?
No. What the? Wow. Who was in charge of this?
No. Please.
I'm gonna put this in. I think they probably shouldn't have given me the microphone. I'll try and be quick before the hook comes out and pulls me off stage. It has honestly been my pleasure to get to work for this city and to get to work for this police department. I'm deeply appreciative that the city and the command staff of the police department gave me the opportunity to earn their trust. And I hope that I did. And in representing not only our department, but our city across the region with K-9 teams. I will say specifically to the chief and the city manager, when one of the things that you guys might have thought was just something simple in your daily lives, but every year we hosted something called Bites and Barbecue. The city manager and the chief came out, and to this day I still get calls and people talking about how cool it was that you guys both showed up, that the chief threw a flashbang, that it was kind of cool. And to me, that's the kind of stuff that I think is important for our city and important for our department to be out there and to show other departments and other cities how to do it right. So again, thank you, everybody. I appreciated my time here, and everybody should try retirement. It's awesome.
Before we all come down for a photo, I want to give colleagues up here a chance to say a few words, starting with
I'm going to get nailed with your hand again.
I know my limit. Yeah. Anyway, Councilwoman Warren, you're up.
Aaron, you are what policing should be.
Thank you.
Your dedication to our city is stellar, and I wish you the very, very best in retirement. Lots of fun, lots of travel, and many more anniversaries, and a happy anniversary to you, and thank you for letting us have him for so long. God bless you, and Godspeed, son.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Forrest.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I have one question for you, and it's a little selfish question, but where's Simpson?
Simpson's at home. Simpson and Roger are both at home and enjoying retired life as well.
Okay, well, I will hope that you'll bring them back for a visit or two, because I have the best pictures of littles with Simpson. And I just want to thank you for your service. You were always around. I mean, you could always be found, usually with a little furry friend next to you, but your service to our city has been absolutely amazing, and you are truly a Murrietan. We hope to see you around a lot. We hope you don't go far. Happy anniversary to you both. Being married to a...
She's going to hate that I even said that.
Yeah. Don't be embarrassed. So just thank you so much for your service, and enjoy retirement, well deserved.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Aaron, what's first on your list?
I'm already working. I already have another job. So,
What are you doing?
I'm actually teaching up in group at Attlehurst, training new police dogs. So getting new dogs soon. We come to the academy at the end of March.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations. And again, piggyback on my colleagues. Listen, your contribution to our community is about why we are one of the safest cities, not just in the state of California, but in the nation. And we appreciate all of your efforts. We appreciate what you've done with the K-9 team and your participation in keeping our residents safe. And that's what the #1 priority of an elected official is, making sure we have the best of the best, and you are the best of the best. So congratulations, happy anniversary, and good luck with your new job, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Holliday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I echo the same sentiments as my colleagues. We first met at the Citizens Police Academy. I don't know if you remember that. There are a lot of faces come through there since then. And your professionalism with canines and that whole support of that team has been phenomenal. I'm sure you've done many other things, but obviously is what you're going to be known for best. And since you're now training new canines, I only have one request. Make sure you pick the best and send them here.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to both of you, and continued success in your retirement.
Thank you.
You know, if you know me, the 3 things I love that are front-facing are this city, law enforcement, and canines. So I think de facto, it means I love you. So congratulations on your retirement. Yeah, no, your service to the city is much appreciated, and I'm so happy you're continuing doing the thing you've been great at. So best wishes in retirement, and we'd love to come down and take a picture.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry. Did we fix it?
Is the clock?
Is it go watch?
All right. Perfect. Can we come a little closer? Just so I can try to crop this edge out right here. Perfect. Would you like to come up as well?
Sure. There's something I learned too, like Cassie said, hey, those seats right there are gonna record on the cameras there, and so now where my bald spot's gonna be. Our city, because I work out.
Why do you think I always
Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, it's not a box. It doesn't feel like one. Thank you. Oh, cool. All right. Well, I'm still on your support, so it shouldn't be a case. All right. And
Before you go, I did miss one. Manager Justin, or City Manager Justin Clifton, would you like to say a few words as a retirement?
Sure, I absolutely would. One of the biggest pleasures I get in this role is getting to meet all the people that truly and directly serve our community. I've enjoyed getting to know you both from the POA and from watching you do your canine thing. It was really a pleasure to go out and see how you organize the whole region, and we're really kind of revered as an expert in this space. So I do hope that we don't lose all that institutional knowledge and that you find some ways to keep contributing, whether that's just in some of the dogs that we end up with or more directly to the team. But it's been a pleasure knowing people like you that are committed, that come in day out and do your very best for this community, and it makes me proud to work here. So thank you.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the agenda. Madam City Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to call for a motion and a second. Looks like I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Holliday and a second by Councilwoman DeForest. Did that change? Yeah. I think we're good now. Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on, City Manager update. What do you have for us, Justin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things for this evening. First, want to recognize that this is the third week in a row, I believe, that we've met, in part because we had a unique activity last week that we don't have very often, and that was our City Council Goals Workshop. So just one more time, I want to thank all the city team, our department heads, Assistant City Manager Kristen Crane, and all the team members who worked hard to put together a progress report and start to outline some of these next steps as we look to expand our prioritization to include some really big capital projects and kind of a longer time horizon for outlining our priorities. And then especially want to take the time to thank council. You gave us some really great direction. It's clear. I also appreciate that you've answered our call to continue to try to be focused. It's difficult in a democracy where we represent all the community and we have demands coming from all directions to really do the hard work of narrowing down our priorities to the things that we can kind of accomplish. So I want to thank you for all of that hard work, and we feel very excited and energized about what lies ahead. Next, I think we're having some pictures here, but council members, city staff, and I all had the pleasure of participating in Read Across America over this last week plus at Cole Canyon Elementary. I have 2 kids that go to Cole, so go Coyotes. We read to students in the classroom or library, and it was really a lot of fun. The March 2026 theme was Champion Kindness, foster a culture of care and connection where kindness, empathy, and collaboration help everyone feel seen, valued, and included. So I had the pleasure of reading to my daughter's 2nd and 3rd grade mixed class about a hare and a bear and some pie to share. So had a really good time, and actually participated with Dr. Andrus, the superintendent from the school district, and it was really great to see him in a rocking chair doing his best, voice impressions and reading with excitement. And you could see that he still is probably a teacher at heart. He was a natural there in front of the class. So love that we have such great participation in those programs, and that we get to help an organization that really shares our mission to make this community wonderful. So with that, always, last but not least, want to invite our Public Information Officer, Hilder Sam, up to talk to us a little bit about what is going on in Murrieta.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Council. There is no shortage of excitement coming up in Murrieta. As we've mentioned before, some of our most beloved and longest running events are coming up this spring, such as the first Murrieta Race Weekend, which includes the 21st Tour de Murrieta, also the Murrieta 5K, and a concert in the park. That's all happening on the weekend of March 28th and 29th. Then coming up is the Spring Extravaganza on April 4th, which CSD is looking for egg fillers for. So if you're interested in that, go on our website and check it out. And then the 79th Annual Firefighters Barbecue is coming as well. So whether you come out for the Tri-Tip, the Cornhole Contest, or the Britney Spears Tribute Band, just come out. Also, this weekend, on Saturday, we are having our bulky item drop-off and shredding event right here in the back parking lot at City Hall. It's free for Murrieta residents, so make sure you take advantage of that. Restaurant Month is officially here, which we are participating in with the Murrieta Wildomar Chamber of Commerce. And if you go on the link that's listed up here, it's bit.ly/dinelocal SWRC. That's a mouthful. If you go on that link, you can see the participating restaurants and get a chance to win some gift cards to local restaurants. So check it out. And of course, we have our market night this week on Thursday. We are so excited that our Murrieta magazine is coming out any day now. When it comes out, we will post it right at murrietaca.gov/connect. And if you would like a physical copy, feel free to request it at our email up here, connect@murrietaca.gov. Last but not least, let's remember to spring forward. It's coming up, daylight savings on Sunday, so set your clocks an hour forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lots of awesome things coming up. Okay, moving on to Governing Body Commission and Committee Reports. This is the time where you get to hear about what we've been doing the last 2 weeks and what committees we're reporting out on that we currently sit on. Starting off with Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been a busy couple of weeks. On the 18th of February, myself and Councilmember Stone with the Southwest Elected Leaders Collaborative went to Sacramento to advocate for support for a bill for synchronizing of signals, a pilot program. And I don't believe one person said no. And in fact, Caltrans said they were going to lean into this. So I had everybody lean in. Speaking of Caltrans, I also had a meeting with Caltrans regarding the I-215 Murrieta Hot Springs signal timing issues, Keller Road Environmental, Traffic Signal Synchronization Study Bill, and Keller Road Environmental. It was a very productive meeting. We have some hard deadlines that we're asking them to meet, and there'll be some technical meetings set up for changing out some of the connector boxes so that we can see their signals, and that someday soon they'll be able to talk to each other. So that was very positive. I also attended the RCTC Budget and Implementation Committee meeting, and right after that, I-15 Ad Hoc Committee meeting. Caltrans is in the process of changing many of their policies, so they let us know about some of those changes. They will be discussed at our meeting next week, and I will report them out at the next meeting. I attended and ran the Southwest T-Now meeting, and I also attended the workshop goal-setting session for the city of Murrieta. On the fun side of things, I attended the Comfort Inn and Suites Murrieta Melvet Waffles for Heroes. What a great program. $5,000 donation turned into a $10,000 donation. It was very cool. Anything that we can do, in my opinion, to help our families that are veterans and are military, it's a win-win. I had the honor and privilege of attending Michelle's Place 25th anniversary Cancer Resource Center for all cancers. It was outstanding. Attended the Murrieta Rotary Club Vocational Service Awards, and I had a police ride-along on Friday night. Note to self, when driving a hot car, look behind you before you take off to go up 90 to 100 miles an hour up Winchester. When you're asked your name, please don't give an incorrect name that actually belongs to somebody else. Also, when you get out, might want to mention you might be on parole, or you're wearing a really pretty state-issued bracelet on your ankle. But the funniest part of the ride, he asked me after we got in the car, "Are you on a ride-along?" And I said, "Yes, I am." That was it. He goes, "Oh, that's awesome." He says, "I've always wanted one." And the officer and I looked at each other and said, "Look, you're on one." So that was a great way to end the evening. But I will tell you that we have the most outstanding police and fire department. They are compassionate. They are caring. They know what they need to do in all situations, and I couldn't be more proud to be a citizen in this city because I feel so safe with our public safety. And I want to thank both chiefs for your leadership. It starts at the top, and you should be so proud of both departments because they are outstanding, and it was an honor to ride along on Friday night. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Councilwoman DeForest.
That was a great report. How can we compete with a hot car and a double ride-along? There's a lot going on this last couple weeks, but one of the most amazing things was the Inland Valley Hospital tower opening and ribbon cutting, attended by 300 of our closest friends. It is the most beautiful hospital. To go into the patient rooms with poppies on the walls and just amazing place for healing. And we are so lucky to have this trauma center in our community. So it was absolutely amazing, and congratulations to Wildemar, and congratulations to us too for having this beautiful treatment center or hospital for our community. Just want to say thank you so much to our Deputy City Manager, Scott Agajanian, for helping with some wonderful extended CUPs for a couple different residents and for getting things moving down the developmental pipeline. I greatly appreciate you, and you're making the city look amazing and very helpful. And everyone has always said, boy, that guy has just a little bit of energy. So I chaired the Southwest Riverside Higher Education Coalition, was well attended by over 50 people. We're still moving along forward. I was supposed to be in Washington, D.C. this week and actually wasn't going to be at the council meeting, but Washington, D.C. got canceled for many reasons, but it's been nice because I've been able to attend a lot of those meetings on Zoom. Attended a meeting with Adam Schiff, a U.S. Labor and Department of Employee and Training Administration, and this morning attended a meeting with Alex Padilla's office and discussed educational grants. And what I learned from that, and I'm going to bring back to our fire chief, is there is some money in wildfire mitigation, and they want to use that money up in this allocation. So hopefully it won't be due Friday, which a lot of the congressional earmark dollars are, but hopefully we can move forward and maybe get some money for Fire Station 6. So I want to thank my fellow colleagues for an amazing goal workshop led by our illustrious mayor. Thank you, John, for doing a great job. We've had some really good workshops, and that one was one of the best. Not the best, but, you know, we'll just...
I got 3 votes.
Yeah, you got 3 votes. Okay, it was the best. The best. So thank you for that. I think we got a lot done. It was really nice to talk about priorities and moving things forward, so I appreciate that. So thank you all, and that's end of my report. Oh, if you need to get a hold of me, there's my cell as well as my email. Please feel free to reach out. Text is always easier and faster for me, so thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Councilwoman Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to congratulate Inland Valley Regional Hospital on their ribbon cutting. I was not in attendance because I was in Sacramento meeting with our legislators on AB 2307, and that is Assemblywoman Kate Sanchez proposed bill for the synchronization of Southwest Riverside County. That is through the Southwest Elected Leaders Collaborative. And in the last 5 years, I would probably say that this is the highest moment of my career as an elected official, to be able to lead this region with solutions to traffic congestion. And again, we got bipartisan support, and I really appreciate Assemblywoman Sanchez, and I do believe that our region will be the pilot program for the state of California. And I want to thank my colleague, Councilwoman Warren, for partnering with me on this, and our Assistant City Manager, Kristen Crane, for all of her efforts, and Isaac Bravo as well. I attended WRCOG yesterday, and I have a little update. The WRCOG's fiscal year 2025-2026 budget reflects an overall $270,000 net decrease, with a 2.9 in reduced revenue and 2.6 million in reduced expenditures, maintaining a balanced approach despite the financial constraints. In addition, Chris Gray also launched the synchronization program, the study that we want to do for the synchronization. WRCOG is leading that effort, and through TUMF, we will be able to do this study. And the purpose of AB 2307 is to have Caltrans at the table with us. It's been a little frustrating because we cannot get control over the intersections that are adjacent to our freeways. And so in order for this synchronization to work, we need their participation, and that's why the legislation is happening. So I want to thank Chris Gray from WRCOG as well. In addition, I met with Assemblymember Greg Wallace, and he was not, we were not able to visit him in Sacramento. He also is co-authoring AB 2307. Yesterday, I was wearing a different leadership hat, and I attended the announcement, the press conference for Assemblymember Carl DeMaio's voter ID initiative. And while I was there wearing another hat, I ended up speaking about the city of Murrieta to Senator Tony Strickland and other senators from the state of California about supporting AB 2307. And what's great about Carl DeMaio is that he received all the signatures required to qualify for the ballot for the voter ID initiative. So wearing two hats, always promoting Murrieta where needed. In addition, I attended Michelle's Place 25th anniversary celebration. It's amazing that this nonprofit, in the honor of their daughter, Michelle, who met her demise at the age of 26 from breast cancer. This family and what they have done and what they have accomplished for resources and services and filling in the gaps where our medical care cannot assist them has been amazing. There's an endowment for in perpetuity for this foundation to move forward. It was such an honor. My mother had passed away from breast cancer 6 months after she was diagnosed, so Michelle's Place is a very special place for our family. I attended the Read Across America, and our little Miss April published a book, and that was the book that I read to the students. In addition, Danny was my guest, and she was far more popular than I was. The children absolutely loved Danny. You can read a little bit more on our website about all the other meetings that I attended, and you can reach me at lstone@marietaca.gov. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Holliday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended the council goal setting session, and I don't know that we actually took a vote, but I want to say, all joking aside, that staff is the one that really deserves all the credit for that event. Ever since you've come on board, Justin, and the entire team got behind you and made those goal setting sessions very productive, very beneficial, helping to take what is a myriad of projects with not a lot of money and get us to focus on what really is important for Murrieta. Now we have to figure out where all the money's going to come from to get everything done. That's something we'll talk. You got somebody out there that's going to donate?
Javier's going to find it.
Javier's going to find money. Oh, I didn't know that, Javier. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I do want to thank my colleagues as well. It was a very productive day. Earlier today, I had a little wrap-up meeting for the Santa Stops. Santa Stops are continuing. We have some good ideas moving forward. Only a couple minor hiccups from last year, so looking forward to that continuing. And then I did not attend the ribbon cutting for the new medical wing of the hospital that was on my calendar, but the illustrious mayor asked me to fill in for him at the last minute at Alta Murrieta Career Day, so he could attend the ribbon cutting. So I graciously obliged, and that was a fun time. We did a little bit there together, kids coming up, and they did a kind of a half circle where you didn't talk to a class. You just sat there. We had a game. Hilda did a great job of setting everything up. So Kim's come over as like Plinko, and they win a little prize, a Murrieta bracelet or a coloring book, coloring pencils and different things. And they just kept wanting to play the game. They didn't care if they won anything. So it was a great day. Also attended with Councilmember Warren the Milvet Comfort Waffles for Heroes. Really good turnout. The owner of the Comfort Inn was there and donated quite a bit of money to Milvet, which is obviously a great organization that we love. Attended the Rotary's Vocational Service Awards. That's always a great time. I think Mayor attended that as well. Yes, he did. Then I went to the Menifee Union State of the district. And why you might say, well, why is a Murrieta council member going to Menifee Union State of the District, is because Menifee's school district covers about half my district. So Murrieta School District only goes up to Clinton Keith. From Clinton Keith north on the east side of town is all Menifee. And they are getting much more active in talking with surrounding communities that they have schools in. And it was really nice to meet the superintendent, and I've had some conversations with city manager's office about getting more involved with Menifee Union School District so we can coordinate things like crosswalks and child safety and that kind of stuff. So that was very good. Several of us attended the Murrieta Citizens Police Academy grand opening with our new officer, Jeremy, that took that over, and he did a great job. We got to encourage them to stick with the whole, was it 12 or 13 weeks? 12 weeks. The great program, we've all been through it. Have you been through it? No, Mayor slacking.
Yep, I'll get there one day.
He'll get there. I have to get him reelected so he goes. And then the mayor and I attended the Murrieta National Little League spring kickoff event. Man, 800 and some kids. There must have been, I don't know, 5,000 people there. There was no parking anywhere, all the way down Mary Ellen Place, all the way down Los Alamos. But it was great. Everybody was there having a good time. Of course, they had to be there. They had to pick up their uniforms. They didn't come to listen to us talk. We both threw a first pitch out. Mine did not quite make the mitt because the guy goes throw easy, so I didn't want to hurt the kid. John did better than I did. John hurt the kid. Took his head right off. And then earlier today, the mayor and I attended Cole County Elementary Read Across America. And of course, we finished that little thing with teaching the kids how to do a proper push-up. Of course we did. And that is all I have. Oh, I do want to thank my colleagues regarding this synchronization timing. When I first got elected, one of my first things I did was through Senator Kelly Ciarda's office, assembly member at the time, was set up a meeting with Caltrans and said, this has been a problem for well over 20 years I've been aware of. We need to do something about that. And in that meeting, which was March of 23, 24, that they said, absolutely, we've done it and we can do it. Here we are over 3 years later, and they haven't fulfilled that promise. And it's nice that we have Councilmember Warren and Councilmember Stone that are helping with that effort when they're talking to our legislators, because it's unacceptable that we're still dealing with that traffic problem. And hopefully I'm not stealing somebody's thunder, but when we got our timing installed in one signal on Los Alamos and the 215, it increased traffic flow better than 40%. One signal. And they've finally seen the writing on the wall. Hopefully, they said they're going to lean into it. If that means another 3 years, we'll see.
It does not.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
That's fine, go for it.
Legislation that's forcing it.
If the legislation comes through, then they won't have a choice. But anyhow, I want to thank my colleagues for helping along with that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Couple things I went to or kind of already called out, just to highlight a few. You know, I work at Loma Linda. Mr. Connors works for Southwest, and my daughter was born at Southwest in the ER 15 years ago, before Loma Linda existed. And so I can tell you, them expanding that hospital is so amazing for the community. The hardest thing and the most expensive thing to build in the state of California is healthcare, amenities or assets. And so kudos to you guys. I mean, the planning and discussions must have started 12 years ago, I assume. And that's a huge undertaking, great benefit to the community. And, you know, we need 5 more, it seems, with the population we're seeing around here. So great addition. Did you guys get licensed to open yet?
Looks like the end of March.
Okay, good. Awesome. So that was awesome. Lots of people there, lots of energy behind that event for obvious reasons. Much needed asset and resource. The City Council Goals Workshop. I was proud to be up here in what is the unofficial best City Council Workshop of existence. All that to be said, it has nothing to do with me. But I do find great pride in being in this seat during that unofficial vote of the best city council workshop. So the staff is amazing. You guys make that job easy and make being up here and being proud very possible. So thank you all for the hard work and the heavy lifting behind the scenes. And thank you to my colleagues for entertaining me and letting me entertain you during that time. And lastly, Ron touched on it, we read to the Cole Canyon Elementary School, and you know, we had some time left over, and the book was Recess, and so I was like, you know, let's talk about physical education. So in another life, I love exercise, or at least I try to love it so I can live longer. But I was like, let's do push-ups. And I wanted to teach the kids how to do a correct push-up, because there's really one way to do a push-up. And there's a little girl in the very front, and she's got a big smile on her face. And I'm like, wow, she looks like she knows something. And so I said, well, why do you want to show what the push-up is? And she goes, well, I'm a gymnast. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, turns out she goes to Sega, and if you know anything about my past, I worked there for 15 years, so it's where I met my wife, and she was a little optional gymnast, level 7 gymnast, and she obviously did perfect push-ups, and so we used her as an example. And then the whole class, we kind of split it up and got to talk about some points of performance for how a push-up should look and feel, and how to get there if you don't have one. So that was really fun. Thank you, Ron, for going. Had a great time. And that's it for what I was doing. You can reach me at that email or that cell phone number, and I'll get back to you. Moving on. Public comments. This is the time for non-agendized item public comments. Every speaker will be limited to 3 minutes unless they've had time donated. Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Connie McConnell.
Good afternoon. It's fun to be back. I see you roped this off so I couldn't come up and bug you guys, but that's okay. Of course, I'm here to talk about the market. It's going great, and we're excited for the year, this season, 2026. We are going to get it expanded a little more. It's going to be a little later than we thought, but you guys will be seeing something from that soon, Scott said, after our March meeting. And it's really needed because we are turning people away. And, you know, it's wonderful because so many people say how much they love our market, how much energy it has brought to downtown. It's brought us a lot of attention, and we are getting businesses who want to come, and of course, regular vendors, and people just are really enjoying it. So we're happy to be a part of that. I want to thank our police department, because the guys that come down, they always have a good time. They're always helpful. We really appreciate them. They're getting better about keeping out the e-bikes, so that's a good thing. But just, we're excited. This week is market night. And we did have to cancel one in February for rain, so everybody's really looking forward to this one. So come on down, enjoy with us, and maybe we'll see you there on Thursday.
Camber Rutz.
Hello. Mayor, councilmen, women, and city staff. First, I really appreciate you for reviewing my proposal that I sent to all of you to improve the trailer accessibility and parking staging at Murrieta Equestrian Center. I appreciate that was also included in the week's goal-setting meeting. Given the importance of the accessibility, the safety, and the functionality of the staging area, I understand that creates some other issues. Being in that situation, I understand that moving forward, I would encourage the city to form an ad hoc committee to focus on the planning of these improvements and future equestrian center projects that need to be addressed. A collaborative working group would ensure the enhancement, effective service the equestrian community while aligning with the city operational needs, which is important, and I'm learning to understand how that really works. I would welcome the opportunity to participate and contribute in any way that is helpful with my input. Practicality of the trailer accessibility, and the use of the arenas. Now the footing has improved greatly, so now people are more encouraged to use the arenas because the footing is very much improved. And that's it. I thank you for supporting the Equestrian Center and the equestrian community. We really appreciate it and need it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Philip O'Reilly is next, and he has time donated.
Good evening, council, mayor, staff, audience. You know, I had a little bit of a speech prepared for this tonight, but truthfully, in hearing Justin and all of you speak about the great things that are going on in this planning committee, or not the planning committee, but the goal-setting meeting you had, ultimately I wasn't able to make that, but I would have liked to be there. But all things to say, I know that the city has put the Jefferson Avenue at Balestros into the in-plan design. I just wanted to take a second to express some gratitude on what that means to me, to really dial it in for the audience and everyone who's not aware. Me, a child of two immigrants, my dad's from Ireland, my mom's from Mexico, to understand we landed here 30 years ago in a ranch that has defined me, my children, my wife, and all the things that are about my life. He, in his life's work, created the Old Town Arches. He was the fabricator welder that put them up, had a little bit of a thing in the time vessel, and all things to say, not to call you out, Casey, but oh, he was in the audience, he's not now. A good friend of Casey Gerardo, and to say the least, that piece defined both his life, my life. He built a business out of it. He did all of Wilson Creek wrought iron work. I ended up working at Wilson Creek. That projected me to a top 100 US restaurant. So many things I could delineate exactly to that one monument. And standing here before you, I just want to have an open conversation to say that, knowing that this is something that is in the future happening. While it isn't defined yet, I do understand that there is some attention from you. I don't need the definition behind it, but I do want to share a little bit of what it means to me. Is it possible we get the camera recording on here? This thing? Yes. So all things considered, thank you.
Can you set it right here?
This way or?
Do it this way. Yeah.
Thank you. A little bit shady. We're looking at Google Maps here, apologies, but all things to say, this is where I grew up, 23590, and you can clearly tell 2-lane pinch to a 4-lane. It is something in which I have long thought about. I knew about this since 8 years old, and to really say it as I see it, there is two methodologies of how this is going to be conquered. Whether it be grading or retaining wall, either way, there will be some redefinition of this area at some point. We've all kind of aimed in that direction. And putting things to paper, I think it's important to recognize that from the other perspective here, we see just what this means as a freeway frontage route. You know, you're talking about a lot of different things that I've mentioned at other meetings, so I don't want to draw too long on it. I see it, and perhaps I've not made it clear enough, that where my dad sits in Temecula, ours sits in view of Temecula. You look at that, and we were just talking about Southwest Hospital. From another perspective, you can see you have the water towers. This thing that needs to be constructed, fixed, repaired, opened up to the next city over in Wildemar. And right over here behind this tree, you're gonna have that Southwest Hospital area that, as you said, is one of the most beautiful and stunning things and an amazing part of our community. I, believe it or not, almost died about 12 years ago, and it was because of the people there that saved my life from kidney failure. And all things to say, it's been a long, strange trip. Bringing it full circle to what I think really is why the reason I stand up here and kind of delineates to 6 minutes and wanted to really talk to you guys from the heart tonight. I have brought what I think is a beautiful concept and an idea in which we can all rally behind as a gateway to the frontage of our city. This would be standing in line of the 15 freeway on the other side of that property. Where I was raised, we'd potentially have something else identifying us at the mouthpiece. We're looking at connectivity and really bridging two gaps as I see them, because Jefferson Avenue right now ends at Old Town Front Street, that artwork I mentioned. This other end at Palomar Street really has the option to just be some suburban housing with the church there and nothing in the middle of the road. You'll have a nice little retaining wall or whatever grading we decide upon, but all things considered, it wouldn't be a monument, and this could be a monument. So with that, I hope that there's some collaboration in tow, and all things considered, I don't know how I'd be able to get privy to the information of what happened with that meeting, but I'd love another, conversation over the phone. Maybe I'll reach out to Lisa DeForest, who's in my region. Past that, yeah, I think we have some extra time. Is there any?
Can't really talk back and forth, but the meeting of the goal setting is recorded and you can watch it online.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your evening.
That concludes public comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the consent calendar. Are there any requests from council to pull any consent items for discussion or recusal? Don't see anything. Madam City Clerk, are there any members of the public that would like to speak on a consent item?
Seeing none.
Thank you. I'd like to call for a motion in a second. I have a motion by Councilwoman Warren and a second by Councilwoman DeForest. Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to our first discussion item, our fiscal year 2025-26 second quarter financial status report and proposed budget adjustments. Staff, looks like we got the dream team up here. Yeah. Who's up first?
I am.
The one and only.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and members of the public. My name is Javier Carcamo, Director of Finance. Along with me tonight is Jennifer Terry, our Finance Manager, as well as Tanner Benson, our Financial Analyst. We're pleased to present to you the fiscal year 25-26 mid-year budget update report. The purpose of tonight's presentation is to provide you with a clear and a transparent assessment of where we stand financially at midpoint of the fiscal year. Highlighting key trends affecting our revenues and expenditures and identifying adjustments as necessary. At mid-year, we have primarily three focused that we're going to present tonight. Is first, evaluating whether revenues are performing as projected. Second, assessing our expenditures trends across all departments. And third, determining whether any budget amendments are warranted. Overall, the city continues to demonstrate a prudent fiscal management. We are closely monitoring economically sensitive revenues, particularly those tied to development and sales activity. On the expenditure side, departments have remained disciplined in managing their budget. However, as it's typical at any mid-year budget update report, we are making minor adjustments to personnel cost and other operational needs, and in some cases, budget items that were omitted at the time of the budget adoption. Where appropriate, we are recommending amendments to align the budget with actual conditions while maintaining the city's long-standing commitment to fiscal responsibility. As with each budget update, we also present an update to the schedule of authorized positions to reflect proposed changes to the departmental organization and structure, including promotions, title changes, and position requests. These updates are aligned with operational needs and succession planning objectives. This update also allows us to evaluate our reserves and long-term sustainability. We continue to maintain a healthy reserve at approximately 30% of the operating budget. The city's operating reserve and fund balance policy is designed to ensure that Murrieta remains resilient during economic fluctuations and well-positioned to meet community expectation for high-quality services. Because accountability and transparency are essentials when discussing finances, I want to bring to your attention an oversight in attachment number 4, titled Fiscal Year 26 Estimated Ending Balances. While preparing for tonight's presentation, we identify a formula error in the expenditure columns of the schedule. We immediately corrected the error and revised the attachment accordingly. The updated attachment 4 has been provided to the city clerk for replacement of the version currently on file, as well as in the agenda packet. And with that, I will turn it over to Jennifer and Tanner to provide a presentation for you tonight.
Thank you, Javier. Tonight's presentation will we will be going over, this is the first year of our biannual budget. And tonight we'll be going over expenditures and revenues received through December 31st. We'll be highlighting some proposed adjustments to the operating budget. We don't have a lot of adjustments at mid-year compared to some prior years. And we'll be reevaluating the majority of our revenues more closely and providing updates as needed as part of the third quarter budget update. We'll provide an overview of the unassigned fund balance, estimated unassigned fund balance for the 5 major funds. As Javier mentioned, changes to the schedule of authorized positions. And then we'll go over, like we always do, future budget updates to remind you when you'll get to see us next, and the recommended actions for this agenda report. We're trying a little, something a little different, trying to simplify the numbers and identify where we have outliers in our revenues and expenditures to date. We've highlighted the percentages, and there's a table legend off to the side. One outperforming license and permit fees category is at 64%, and at this point in the year, you would assume our revenues are at 50%. So we are proposing a slight increase in that category, and Tanner will discuss that more. Delayed receipts, we have several of our revenues that are on delayed receipts, meaning the receipts are collected are provided to the city on either a 2-month or quarter delay. Sales tax being a 2-month delay, that's why you only see 33% here. Franchise taxes are more on a quarter delay, and transient occupancy taxes, those are on we'll say a 2-month delay as well. So we're wanting to highlight those that they are not at 50% and it's completely normal. Anything that we receive from the county is based on their schedule. The majority of the property taxes and VLF property tax comes in starting in January, which is not reflected in mid-year because this only goes through December 31st. So the VLF property tax, regular property taxes, and property transfer taxes, those are not at 50% like you would assume, and that is perfectly normal. You'll see those actual receipts start to flow in as part of third quarter. And then we'll call it orange, not red. Those are items or categories that we're going to continue to monitor because they are below, some well below our 50% mark. And those include other miscellaneous revenue, charges for services, and our business license tax. As far as other miscellaneous revenue, that one isn't alarming. I just wanted to point out, we haven't booked our second quarter interest earnings yet, so that's why it's a little bit low. But we will continue to monitor these, and if adjustments need to be made, we'll be making those at third quarter. Overall, we have collected 26% of our revenue, which is on target with what we normally see through through mid-year. So of the $78.8 million in revenue for the general fund, we've collected 20 million, 0.5. And then I'll hand over the expenditure portion over to Tanner.
Thank you, Jennifer. I will be discussing the city, where the city is at for general fund expenditures, Measure T, and the proposed changes for council's consideration. For general fund expenditures, we are significantly more in line with with our expectations of 50% as of the end of the quarter, sitting at 48% of the total amended budget. The first one we want to bring to your guys' attention are the ones highlighted in green that are in line with expectations. Those are our personnel costs, our allocations, and our transfers. For personnel costs, we did want to point out that between July and December, we do only capture 12 pay periods, even though 13 pay periods is 50% of our year. So the actual personnel cost would be a lot closer to 50% if 13 was captured based off of the timing of the end of the quarter. Next is our yellow highlighted expenditures that are not evenly expended throughout the fiscal year. These are our operations and maintenance, our capital outlay, and our one-time expenditures. Yes, and our capital outlay are the ones that are significantly outperforming and may cause alarm due to them being at 80%. However, capital outlay is typically used for purchasing like vehicles, equipment, and other machinery that would be like over $5,000 and have a useful life greater than one year. For our one-time expenditures, sitting on the opposite end at 0%, these one-time expenditures that have been budgeted in the general fund have not occurred in the first half of the fiscal year. Just like for sales tax revenues in the general fund, the revenues in Measure T are collected on a couple-month delay. Measure T sales tax has been collected through October as of December 31st and is actually trending slightly higher than initial projections by 1.5%. Total Measure T expenditures are trending at 51% of the overall amended budget. Most accounts are in line with our expectations and are where we would anticipate them being at the end of Q2. Similar to general fund, O&M, capital outlay, and one-time expenditures are typically not expended evenly throughout the fiscal year. And we did want to highlight the CIP expenditures because they are budgeted on a separate subledger, on the CIP subledger. Alrighty, now into the meat and potatoes. We have our proposed adjustments that we are bringing for council's consideration. First, I do want to draw your attention to the footnote on the table. We only included accounts on the table with proposed adjustments in them. The totals will still sum using all of the accounts to show the net effect of the proposed adjustments to total revenues and total expenditures. Additionally, we do want to point out that this is proposed adjustments for the city-wide. It's not Measure T or general fund specific. Some of the line items maybe, but overall, this is citywide. Starting with revenues, we wanted to highlight a proposed adjustment to sales tax for general fund and Measure T, increasing general fund by roughly 200,000 and Measure T by 150,000, totaling to that 350,000. Staff is also proposing to increase revenues in other miscellaneous revenues by $7.4 million. $7.3 million of that is due to increases in various DIF revenue accounts based on current collections and projections. And then the remaining is to bring our Cal OES revenues for our fire department to to match their year-to-date revenue collections as of December 31st. If additional receipts are received or anticipated, we will bring another request at the third quarter update. Moving on to the expenditures, we are proposing an increase to our personnel cost budget of $222,000 to implement the various adjustments to positions that council approved at the December 16th council meeting and to add benefits for fire that were omitted from the biennial budget. We are also proposing a net increase to the budget for operations and maintenance in the amount of $167,000. The largest contributors are adding our leasing, the costs associated with leasing the annex across the street of $186,000 and adding $47,000 for emergency repairs at the fire fleet maintenance shop. And finally, moving down into the transfers section, we are proposing to reduce transfers in and transfers out by $3.5 million. We initially budgeted an interfund loan between Measure T and the library diff fund as a transfer, but upon further research, it was determined that the transfer was not needed and should be addressed on the balance sheet. And now I will hand it back to Jennifer to go over fund balance.
Thank you, Tanner. One thing I just wanted to point out on the operations and maintenance changes, while the numbers that Tanner mentioned for the City Hall Annex and the repairs are greater than what's listed here, we did have a couple budget reductions that offset to get us to that $167,000. So just wanted for clarification. Excuse me, the impacts of our proposed adjusted budget are included in here. We have our beginning unassigned fund balances for the 5 major funds, which is the carryover from prior fiscal year. The capital outlay column, the use of assigned fund balance, use of are the same as prior year. The use of reserves has been adjusted. We removed the $3.5 million as that will be accounted for separately because we're removing the transfer out from Measure T. We don't need to have that offsetting revenue. Our transfers to reserves have remained the same since budget adoption. So our ending estimated fund balance for all 5 funds is $49.4 million, with $31.4 million being from general fund and $17.4 million from Measure T. We do recognize that the fire district and the CSD have some they're not balanced to zero, and that is because of some of the adjustments that we're proposing tonight, and we will true those up as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year. The changes to the schedule of authorized positions, while there are several listed on the slide here, we are maintaining 467 full-time positions. So we have a net impact of 0. We are making changing some titles due to promotions. We have some movements for department efficiencies, as well as one addition for succession planning. Our total net impact of 0 FTEs, it equals 1 addition of a fire prevention battalion chief. That's the succession one, and reducing a communications specialist. And that was done as part of the cost savings to offset the promotions that were done at the end of the calendar year. So like I said, we're maintaining that 467 full-time FTE. Our future actions, our 3rd quarter budget update, we're proposing to come in May. And then our year-end or 4th quarter budget update will be in December. And then we'll begin our biannual budget adoption. It seems like it's never ending. Even though it's 2 years, we'll start that process again in December. And we propose to have a budget workshop in May and then budget adoption the following month. So that brings us to recommended actions. Are to accept the report that we've presented, adjust the fiscal year 25-26 operating budget as defined, and approve the updated schedule of authorized positions. This concludes our presentation, and we're available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. We're going to bring it up for questions, and I'll use my cue here. So starting with Mayor Pro Tem Holliday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, staff, for a very in-depth report and staff report that I read in its entirety. Had a couple questions. The license and permit fees additional revenue. Do we know what licenses and permits that generated that additional revenue?
Yes, so there were additional permits in both single family housing, 12 additional permits in multifamily housing, and additional permits for ADUs that attributed to that.
So it was all housing related?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I read in your staff report that we expected to receive less revenue from AMR not arriving on time to emergency calls. So we have a thing in their contract that says that if you don't show up within a prescribed time, you actually pay a penalty to us that we use for certain things that are in the contract. And we're proposing to reduce that income item by $50,000, which to me sounds like a good thing because they're showing up on time more often for our residents. Is that accurate? Or does the chief need to come down and chat about that?
Well, I know that the fire, and I'll let Chief expand if necessary. Since they've been paying the fine, they have been showing up to calls more frequently on time. The expenditure is, or the reduction is the expenditure in line with the revenue.
Right, right.
So we're reducing how much we plan to spend.
But we receive $50,000, we anticipate to receive $50,000 for the whole year. Do we know how much the fine is per call?
That I will let the chief take over.
$1 million.
Thank you, Council. So the contract with AMR is not actually a City of Murrieta contract with AMR. It's a County of Riverside contract with AMR. And in their contract, they have what is called a system enhancement fee, and it's a sliding scale based on when they do not arrive on scene in the prescribed time with which they're supposed to arrive on scene for certain specific call types. We want that revenue source to be low because that means that the ambulances are arriving on time in our city. And there were some changes in their contract recently. They took away a lot of the contingencies that they could have to offset those call times. So when they did that, AMR really ramped up their responses in our city, and we went from having a higher number of system enhancement fees coming into us because of the delayed call response to seeing a much lower delayed call response. And so the revenue of that fine offsets. And I have it, it's a sliding scale. It's specifically in the county contract. I can go over it with you. But I think the good news is here, we actually want $0
exactly.
in ambulances at the scene on time. So this is a good thing.
I know they call it a system enhancement fee, which is kind of silly. It's a fine for not doing your job.
But it's prescribed how we're able to spend those funds, and we have to spend it enhancing EMS in our own community. So we've put that to good use in the community.
Yeah, and it is, but I'd rather have the ambulances show up on time, and the fact that it's been reduced by, or anticipated to be reduced by 50,000 this year is, to me, is a good sign.
It's one of the few times less money is a good thing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Without getting into specifics, does this have anything to do with their performance being essentially bettered for the community? The non-emergent option they're deploying, which would free up the ambulances from doing calls that may not be appropriate for an ambulance?
It's overall system changes that they've had because they don't just serve the city of Murrieta. They, their specific contract for this area, Southwest Riverside County, which is the 5 cities in this area, it's their exclusive operating area on the south end. So they've done some different changes in how they staff their paramedic units when they have those BLS units in place. In Murrieta, we do not dispatch BLS units. So all of our units that come here are still ALS, meaning they have a paramedic on board. But other places in the system will allow that, and so that frees up more paramedic ambulances. And AMR has had increased paramedic staffing, which has been great and shows in this revenue change.
That's great news. Thank you.
And it's amazing how a little financial incentive works wonders.
Councilmember Holliday, when I was elected in 2020 during the pandemic, the call for service was so egregious. You're talking about 8 hours at times. And after COVID, the requirements had lifted, their response time still was not where it should have been. And there was such an outcry from the cities that the Board of Supervisors are holding them accountable now, and it's really a good thing for all of us.
So. Councilwoman DeForest.
Thank you, Mayor. Ron, that was a little shorter than normal. You guys are getting clearer, more concise. So thank you so much for the clear and concise quarter budget. I appreciate you all for always being here and taking our questions. Sometimes the budget is so large and a little bit intimidating, so I appreciate you kind of breaking it down so easy for us. One of the questions I have is on page 3, where you highlighted a continue to monitor, and it was business licenses. Is that number telling me that we have a reduction in business licenses? Is that something that maybe we should be, trying to support our small businesses a little bit better? Could you explain that number just a little bit for me?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Great question. It's not necessarily that we're losing businesses. Could be primarily that businesses are not paying the business license on time. And so that might be a reason as to why we see today approximately 45% collection up to this point. We'll continue to monitor that, but we'll work closely with business license, possibly to send out reminders. We do send out reminders 3 months in advance prior to the business license expiring, and we follow up with a couple more reminders shortly thereafter. And after the business license is expired, we also send a reminder as well. So there are various reminders that we do send out, but it's not necessarily that businesses are moving out of our city. It's likely that for some reason they're not paying their business license on time.
Just a caveat a little bit on that. I know guilty. Sometimes I get 5,000 million emails, and I will be the first to say that maybe went into the delete pile, or I just went by it and ignored it. Do we also send a hard copy to those businesses too, especially when they're delinquent after our 3 emails? So.
Don't believe we do. I think everything is sent through.
Yes.
I don't think we believe, I believe we don't send a hard copy letter. That is something that we could implement. We went away from the hard copy and went electronic as a cost-saving measure.
Right.
The envelopes, the postage, but possibly, when somebody hasn't replied to the 3rd message, then it warrants snail mail. So
I think that would be great, especially for some of us that maybe ignore a few emails here and there, and maybe we're ignoring the ones we shouldn't ignore. So maybe the snail mail after, they've been delinquent for a while. So just on that. Thank you for that clarification. And just another question on page number 6, when we talk about the expenditures for the annex, our annex city hall, which we're so grateful to have that. We are talking about in our goal setting how, we would like to expand our city hall. And in a perfect world, that if we had as much money as we wanted, that would be, very high up on our priority list. with that said, do we see a continuing increase in our lease yearly because of having that building? Is that a continued increase in expenditure?
The increase in the budget was merely from an omission.
Okay.
We copy our prior year budget over, and because the lease occurred mid-year and it wasn't part of the adopted budget, it was missed.
Okay.
So we do have increases in the agreement, the lease agreement. It does increase annually, though.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Thanks for answering my questions.
Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you. Great report and very easy to digest, which I do appreciate. I know we all do. If we could go back to page 3 one more time. I just want to make sure that not only I am clear, but the public is clear. The sales tax that has been collected through 12/31/25 is actually money collected as of the end of the third quarter of 2025. Is that correct? Or it's for everything you received up to October 31st, 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, October 31st.
Knowing
so it's
that,
only 4 months worth.
Right. Knowing that sales tax is due at the end of January for most businesses, unless they're on a monthly or bi-monthly payment, so they're taking actually an extra 2 to 3 months to remit our money back to us when they've had it since around January 31st, February 1. So we're not really expecting to get that until the end of this month or April. Is that correct?
The sales tax receipts are due to CDTFA by the end of the following month.
Okay.
And then it takes them a few weeks to remit the receipts to us. So it's about 45 days from the end of the month before we get.
So you're expecting something in the middle of this month then?
We have received December already.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So you know what those numbers are then?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. And are they good numbers? Are you going to smile or not smile?
It's a mixed bag.
Okay, well, that's fine. And I'm assuming that is the same for property taxes. You're delinquent after December 10th, and so they then take their time to review everything and then submit the money. When is that money due in?
Property taxes for the first installment and anything else levied on the property tax bill are usually received by the end of January. So we have received first installment.
Okay.
So with anything levied on the property tax bill, the county splits it into 4 installments. The first in January, the second in May, the third in July, and then the fourth would be anything that is lingering, and that comes in October of the following calendar or fiscal year. So we get the county, it doesn't coincide with exactly when you pay your property tax bill because they have so many agencies and that they have to account for before they disseminate.
Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people think, well, money in, money out, we've sent our money in, they should be sending it right away, but it doesn't. So I just want to make sure I understood the timing of that. Thank you very much.
You're
Great
welcome.
report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. That's all. Madam City Clerk, are there any public comments on this item?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor.
Surprising. Back to council. Any further comments? Nothing? All right. I'd like to call for a motion. I have a motion by Councilwoman DeForest and a second from Councilwoman Warren. Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you, staff. Thank you, guys. Next up, the also famous traffic discussion. Rarely do I get to compliment Councilwoman Stone, so I'll do so now. She had this idea. This is kind of a little pilot, pet project she's had, and I think what I've heard so far is turning out beautifully and with no oversight of the staff that's been behind it. So thank you, Councilwoman Stone and staff, for what's about to be the greatest presentation about traffic ever.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor Lavelle, Mayor Pro Tem Holliday, council members, city staff, and members of the community. Before we do start, I would like to personally thank Councilmember Lori Stone for remaining steadfast in her request to look at traffic on our traffic corridors to try to reduce congestion. We can't reduce traffic, but we can actually try to reduce congestion by manipulating traffic signal timing, working with our community, working with our partners, Caltrans, and trying to get more efficiently movement of our cars, specifically during school traffic. And we're here today to talk about the Los Alamos corridor, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. We wouldn't be here without you today, so just wanted to say that. Before I do, I want to reach out and introduce Jeff Hitch, city engineer, and Brian Stevenson, our consultant traffic engineer. They're going to make this presentation today on the Los Alamos Traffic Congestion Pilot Program. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Mailing. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Glad to be here once again to talk about our favorite subject, traffic, of course. We do get complaints from residents in the community routinely, and something that we regularly address. We have neighborhood traffic management programs that we use to help address traffic. This is an important topic, and again, as Bob had indicated, we appreciate Councilmember Stone for bringing this to our attention, I think related to this. And I'm going to talk you through a little bit of the background and how we got here today. We have the background kind of started back in 2024 when your council requested the staff to take a look at some form of a program that might look at improving traffic. I remember we had discussions with our city manager, Clifton. He suggested actually, I believe at that point in time, a pilot program is something that I think he'd seen done in other agencies. And we decided to take a look at that. The main concerns that were presented in that meeting was increases in local and regional housing. There were a lot more multifamily housing that was coming in, and we were looking at potential other regional housing, the Winchester communities, for example, that were going to be bringing in a lot more traffic. So those were some of the concerns. Coordination and control of Caltrans traffic signals, which obviously you have discussed earlier this evening in governing board announcements. And then overall concerns about travel time, just getting across town during peak periods. It was obvious Los Alamos was a good candidate, I think, for that. We'll discuss a little bit about why that is. So January of this year, 2025, we introduced the Los Alamos Traffic Congestion Pilot Program due to the obvious delays that we were experiencing in that area. And the purpose of that program was to reduce traffic congestion, albeit on a limited scale, with potentially, if it was successful, maybe looking at other avenues to look at. And then the action that came out of that meeting was to proceed with the program, and then to purchase and install additional CCTV cameras in the Los Alamos corridor to further to evaluate. The corridor looks like it does on here on the screen from Hospitality Place, which is near the I-15 interchange, over to Whitewood Road, which is just east of the 215 interchange. So we have one interchange that we're crossing through that had two Caltrans ramps that addresses our Caltrans coordination issues that we are sometimes challenged with. And then, of course, looking at several signals that are on the corridor at the time when we started this that were not in coordination. So coordination or synchronization of our traffic signals, and just to give you a brief update or review of that, we typically involve signals that are in close proximity to each other in a dense area, dense population. In this particular location, when we started this project, only Hancock to Whitewood Road on this signal, those 5 signals were in coordination and were synchronized together. And when we say we're synchronizing them we synchronize in the AM peak hours, the midday peak hours, and then the evening peak hours in the direction that traffic is most prevalent or the highest flow of traffic is recorded. In the case of the other signals, they were really kind of too far separated from the other 5 signals. And we had several brand new signals that were added in recent times, right? So we had the Bridges Driveway East and the Bridges Driveway West and Hospitality Place were recently added within the last couple of years associated with the multifamily development that's occurred in that area. With just Lincoln and Monroe there, those two signals were not close enough to the other 5 signals to really put those into coordination. Now that we're looking at this program, it gives us an opportunity to look at the whole corridor, put the whole corridor into coordination, and that was one of the objectives that we had to try to improve the program. I will further indicate on here we had 2 signals. Hancock Avenue and Whitewood were the only 2 signals that had CCTV cameras. We suggested in that January 25 City Council meeting to add cameras at Vista Murrieta, Lincoln, Vista Murrieta, as well as Monroe. Those CCTV cameras were in fact added and helped us with doing some of the adjustments. So the program layout that we discussed back in 2025 was to look at, one, we want to look at the existing traffic counts that were established in the fall of 2024. We had those traffic counts, so we didn't need to do anything further with that. Our next step was to perform what we call before travel time runs. This was to set the baseline to establish how long it takes to run up the corridor in the eastbound direction and then back down the corridor in the westbound direction. That wasn't completed just once. It was completed multiple times to set that baseline for, again, for the morning, midday, and evening travel time runs. The next step was to look at traffic observation and signal timing adjustments to look at different things that could be done. As I discussed, we added CCTV cameras in the area to help with that. We observed traffic to identify potential traffic disruptions. And then the idea was to then install adjustments to the corridor based on those observations and things that we felt could be done. The final step of the program was to perform after travel time runs, and this was to develop final travel runs, develop final runs after the adjustments to then record and see how our adjustments had performed. I would kind of add to the idea of synchronization, and just as a reminder of synchronization of signals. Of course, that means that you're synchronizing all the signals in one direction. So if your rush hour traffic is going eastbound, then it's synchronizing it such that a platoon of cars can go from one signal to the next signal to the next signal and hopefully hit green at every signal. If you have so much traffic in the corridor that it backs up across multiple signals, there's not much you can do about that. That's just too much traffic. But if you have platoons of traffic that are running through, you can theoretically have that traffic moving in a coordinated direction. The one thing it is always important to remember when you do that, if you're going in the opposite direction, that doesn't mean you're going to hit green lights in the opposite direction. It means you could hit some red lights running through there, so your timing in the opposite direction is not necessarily going to be optimal. It's looking at primarily at rush hour. The other thing that we always like to point out is your side streets. Normally, if you're approaching a side street, if you're in a coordinated condition, or if you're not in a coordinated condition and you hit a side street to a main street, normally it's going to trigger that light to turn green relatively quickly. If you're in a coordinated condition and you happen to arrive early in that, the main street light had just turned green, you have to wait for that whole cycle to go through. If the cycle for a section in this case is 120 seconds, you might have to wait that full 120 seconds. So those are just things to observe that we've noted. I'm going to pass this off to Brian Stevenson. He's the one who actually performed the travel time runs, and he's going to talk through a little bit what he learned, I think, from that, and then what type of adjustments we came up with and why, and then conclusions of what we found.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. We did experience some favorable results of this, so thank you, Councilmember Stone, for initiating this. Some of the improvements and results that we installed were that we synchronized, like Jeff said, the 10 signals along the corridor, and those were coordinated in the westbound direction for the morning peak, which was 6 to 9, in the westbound direction from 11 to 1, and in the eastbound direction from 3 to 6. That was based off the actual traffic counts that we performed at a couple locations along the road, and they identified the heaviest flow of traffic. Something else to point out along here is that this is the perfect candidate for congestion with a high school and a middle school that up to a year and a half ago were staggered a little bit more. But a year and a half ago, when the high schools changed their starting time periods, now they both overlap a bit, and that caused a little bit of this congestion that we struggled with a little bit. So we met with Caltrans last week. Thank you to Councilmember Warren. We had a very productive meeting, and we heard back the next day from Caltrans, and Caltrans staff came out today to meet with the city signal technician to help troubleshoot why are we not able to communicate with the signals anymore. We used to be able to see the timing at all of the Caltrans signals and time around that, but we've lost communication over the last few years, and we are currently working on regaining that ability to view their timing. We increased the cycle length. The initial cycle length that we had from those 5 signals that were coordinated was 110 seconds. We coordinated the whole corridor at 110 seconds and then observed from the traffic room how that impacted the timing at the intersections. We realized that it was a little short, and the intersection that was the most troublesome was Hancock and Los Alamos, and the left turns from westbound Los Alamos to southbound Hancock. So what we did is we reran the analysis, installed 120-second cycle length. We asked Caltrans not to lag their left turns. What that means is at most of the signals in the city, you'll notice that the left turns always go first and then the through traffic. At the Caltrans interchange, at a lot of those diamond interchanges, lagging lefts works better. Well, it didn't here, and that's likely due to the traffic volumes at the intersection. So we changed it back to lead. They agreed to do that. They did it for us. We did the travel time runs, which showed favorable results. Sorry, backing up. As part of the city's pavement rehab project on Los Alamos, we changed the striping at the intersection of Los Alamos and Hancock to add the westbound dual lefts. So that actually helped out quite a bit because that storage pocket for the left turn lanes is pretty short due to the raised medians, and we're restricted by the closely spaced intersections. So adding that dual left helped out immensely. The results of the travel time runs are, I drove back and forth with a GPS unit in the car, identifying the time I traveled through each one of the intersections, did this multiple times in the after condition, and we realized a 17% reduction in the travel time. I'm sorry, it says it was 17 in one of these before we added the additional ones. 13% reduction in the travel time in the westbound direction, 2% during the midday. That one wasn't one of the key periods just because it has a lot less traffic during the midday. And then the PM, we reduced the travel time by installing the coordination timing plans by about half of the time, by over 56%. So those were very favorable results that we realized.
Just really quick, you may notice that the numbers on that table are slightly different than what's in your agenda report. Those numbers were just recently updated as Brian ran some additional travel runs last week, which added a little bit more information. We wanted to run as many as we could and then average those numbers. And so that explains why there's a slight difference in those numbers. They're basically they're pretty consistent.
So the conclusion of this pilot program was that the results on Los Alamos were highly positive, but were due to the significant need along the corridor from recent development and the school bell periods overlapping. It would be hard for us to expect similar results on other coordinated roadways that we have because the other roadways that we have are already coordinated. We should expect a slight improvement for the next one that we plan to do, which was Murrieta Hot Springs Road, but to get a 50% reduction would be surprising, I think, unless it's a corridor that's not in coordination today. So where that may happen down the road is when Jefferson connects to Palomar and we add signals along that road and put in a coordination timing plan in the north end of the city there. One of the next corridors that we plan to do is Murrieta Hot Springs Road. We typically do a corridor every year. We have 4 main corridors that are in coordination: Los Alamos, Cal Oaks, Clinton Keith, and Murrieta Hot Springs. And Murrieta Hot Springs is likely due to be the next one because we're gonna have 2 new signals turned on there within the next 6 months and a lot of new development going in. So we wanna make sure that we're on top of that and get that one, any updates performed to that corridor as quickly as possible. So with that, we had, Bob was gonna give an update on Assembly Bill 2307, but I think that was pretty much covered in the governing announcements. So thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Bringing it back up here for council comments, I'm sorry, questions. Mayor Pro Tem Holliday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the report. Happy to see the excellent results. How much would you contribute those improvements to the synchronization at the freeway?
The synchronization with the 2 signals at the freeway?
Yeah. Because we didn't have that before.
We were coordinated with the 2 freeway signals: Hancock, 215 southbound, 215 northbound, Murrieta Gateway, and Whitewood. Those 5 were in coordination before. We didn't go west of there before because Lincoln and Vista Murrieta Road is about half a mile away, and you generally don't experience great coordination timing plans with anything over a quarter mile away. And that's about a half mile away. But because of these platoons of vehicles going to and from the school, and the new signals that were added, I think it was pretty favorable because previously the other 2 signals we had prior to the 3 getting built over there were running free. So just as people drove over a loop in the road, the signal would get triggered, and when time permitted, it would allow them. So I think it's because we now have platooning of vehicles along the corridor and a steady destination to and from the schools is likely why we saw such a great improvement.
I thought one of Mr. Hitch that said that we couldn't even see the timing at the 215.
I'm sorry, we could not, we couldn't tell if they were running the coordination plan that they were supposed to be running or not. The timing plans that Caltrans has implemented at their signals in our city are based off timing that we prepared. We give it to them, they agree to it, they ask for tweaks, we agree, and then it gets installed. We used to be able to see that, now we can't. So we can't see it in the signal control software. We do have cameras at each interchange on either side, and we can observe if they're functioning roughly like they should be, but not exact. It updates every second, the software, so we need to be able to see that in our signal timing software.
So what we have there currently during this program is roughly what we asked them?
Yes, it is. So we have and the way we can tell that now, and there was an issue between November and February when they installed the timing. Something was wrong with their controller at the 215 northbound. And we saw that because our camera at Whitewood, if we face it in the westbound direction, we can see 4 signals. And you should be able to see in the PM, in the AM and midday, you should be able to see Gateway go yellow, then the northbound go yellow, then the southbound go yellow as somebody's driving along the road. And it just wasn't functioning at the 120-second cycle length. It was jumping all around. So we were in communication with Caltrans, and they came out and helped us fix it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilwoman DeForest.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. Can I make a comment?
I think we can move on to comments, yeah.
Thank you, sir. I just want to say thank you, Bob, Jeff, and Brian, for all your hard work on this. And I want to hats off to Councilwoman Stone and Councilwoman Warren for being our traffic warriors. So, I really think that, we have so many comments and so many emails, but, thank you to them for, the great idea, and thank you to Councilwoman Stone for really pushing this traffic on Los Alamos. It has made my life much easier. That is how I get to the 215, is straight up Los Alamos. And I will tell you, the signals stay green. And before it was like, oh, look, I just hit another red, or, oh, I got one green out of them. It was kind of like a joke which one you'd get to change, but now it's allowing traffic to flow, and it isn't backing up like it used to. So thank you to my fellow council women for not wanting to sit in traffic. I appreciate that. And I appreciate encouraging Caltrans to lean in, and I think it worked because I think they're leaning. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for letting me.
You're welcome. We kickstarted it off in comments. Before we go into everyone's comments, Madam City Clerk, are there any public comments on this?
Seeing none.
Amazing. Bringing it back to Councilwoman Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bob, Jeff, and Brian, thank you again for hearing me. Thank you, Bob, for sitting in all those meetings with the collaborative. Your input has been extremely viable, so thank you. With regards to the CCTV, is this timed? Do you time this, or is this motion detected?
The CCTV cameras are just observation cameras. They're not. They don't record.
Okay.
These are cameras, and these are different from say detection cameras. Not all signals have detection cameras. Most of our signals detection is done by loops in the road. We have a couple of signals, not on this corridor, that have cameras for detection purposes. These CCTV cameras they're pan, tilt, zoom type style cameras where you can. Somebody can sit in our traffic room, you can see the intersection, and you can pan the camera around, and you can tilt it up and down and zoom in and out. That's what these cameras are for, and they're only at certain intersections in town.
Right.
And they're there for the purpose of us to do observation. You can put recording devices on them. It gets really complicated.
Right.
in how to collect that data and how long you have to keep it.
Yes.
And having storage
of course.
To store it. So anyway.
So with regards to the timing part of it, are you actually setting the time, or is somebody sitting in the office there observing and manipulating that time?
I'll let Brian address that.
They're currently set to run on a time of day plan every weekday from 6 to 9. There's a plan that's installed at each of the signals. Then it goes back into free mode between 9 and 11, meaning as a vehicle arrives over the loop, it'll trigger the light and it'll change when it can. From 11 to 1, it's in the coordination plan. 1 to 3, it's not. 3 to 6, it's in the afternoon coordination plan.
So I will tell you, I have definitely seen a difference. But just yesterday at 8:30, going north on Whitewood and going east on Los Alamos, the traffic on Los Alamos from the elementary school going east, and the traffic going south on Whitewood, and then the traffic going over the freeway, which, Caltrans controls. It was absolute deadlock. Nobody could even move. And so I think it's really important. And again, I appreciate everything that you are doing. If there's a way that somebody could monitor from the room and just observing to see if there are hiccups that need to be addressed, I would like to see that happen, especially in the morning. For some reason, with people, traveling to work, that Whitewood corridor from Menifee is a thorough way, and then again, having the elementary school, there's still a bottleneck there. So if you can just review that, I would really appreciate that. I am so glad, and I'm so happy, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of Councilwoman Warren as well. When we were in Sacramento and we sat with Caltrans, I want you to understand they were shocked that they were not providing customer service. Shocked.
That's an understatement.
Yes.
They were, what? Really?
Shocked. And they do have some new leadership, and I believe that they're wanting to help us at this point, especially with the legislation forcing them to have a seat at the table. So I'm really happy to hear that they were here, they're helping to mitigate the issue, and that they're working with the city of Murrieta. That's really, really exciting. So hopefully our voices were heard in Sacramento, and they're stepping it up. So I want to give kudos to Caltrans, because I've been, complaining and bitching for 2 years, and thank God that they are working with us, and thank you, Councilmember Warren, for your meeting with Caltrans and addressing the issue head on. I really, really appreciate it. I'm sure my colleagues appreciate it as well. So again, thank you so much for all of your efforts. I know our residents are going to be very, very happy. And then you have in other news here, AB 2307. I think that the statistics that we get from this will be very viable for Chris Gray with regards to AB 2307, showing, at the local level, not regionally, which we're fighting for, but at least at the local level, that there is success, City Manager Clifton. So that's going to be really, really important. Again, thank you for hearing me. Thank you for being patient, Bob, with me. I know that from time to time I march in your office, and you already know why I'm there, but I just really appreciate all the efforts, and I really appreciate our city manager for hearing me and presenting this pilot program. I pray and hope that this works for Murrieta Hot Springs Road in the future, and also Clinton Keith. And thank you again. That concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Back on that, before we move on this warrant, who coined the term, the scariest phrase is hi, we're the government and we're here to help? Reminded me of that with Caltrans, but I hope that's a different tune they're singing. So, Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Stone. Brian, could you elaborate a little bit on the boxes that are at the freeways? Evidently the wiring or cabling or something, ours is not the same as theirs. And could you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Sure. The traffic signal controller cabinets, where the computer or the signal controller is that controls each of the intersections, are currently interconnected all the way back to City Hall with single mode fiber. We're able to see all the city signals from here. Used to be able to see the Caltrans signals, but over the years, Caltrans has upgraded equipment within their controller cabinets without, we believe, notifying us. And we don't know exactly what the issue has been. Today, I haven't had a chance to get a debrief from Jerry Aldridge, the signal technician, of his meeting with Caltrans, but they're working on it to get us reconnected or let us know how to get reconnected to their signal controllers. I would like to add, I don't know if it was a result of the meeting last week with Caltrans, but there used to be 2 different Caltrans staff that were assigned to the city of Murrieta, one for I-15 signals, one for I-215 signals. We found out today that the person we've been dealing with is now reassigned to do all the signals for Murrieta. So that's going to be helpful.
And I was just going to mention, I do believe there were some changes made because of our meeting, and having you and Bob in the meeting with me, and having all of their executives sitting there listening and actually taking action and writing down notes and making a change. I'm very, very pleased with the outcome so far, but let's keep them to their promises. And thank you very much for your time. Great report. Appreciate it.
And back to Mr. Holliday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What's the status on our adaptive signals? Did we install any of those yet? Is Caltrans installing those?
Yeah, so I believe we have the design now mostly completed. We're now, so part of the funding process that we have, since it has federal funding on it, we have to go through, if you can believe it, environmental review for, even though all we're doing is
inside the cabinet?
Replacing cabinets, the controllers inside the cabinet. It's still a requirement under NEPA, the National Environmental Protection Act. So those are steps that we still have to take that we're going through. So we're in the process of finalizing those documents and getting those into Caltrans for review. We have a right-of-way certification because we have to certify that all the existing signals are actually in our right-of-way. And once that's completed, then we'll be applying for the federal funds and putting the project out to bid. So I don't know that we have a really good deadline or time frame for that. I'm our plan was to have it out by this summer, out for construction. When we say construction, it's replacing the controllers in the cabinets, so that's pretty benign. We do have loops that have to be redone at all of the intersections in town, so there will be some disruption to traffic while that's taking place. And the idea is that we would be having that out probably by this fall.
Okay, and so that's at the freeway intersections, putting those adaptive signal timers in. What about in our intersections?
Well, no, these would be adaptive, would be
citywide.
Would be citywide.
And we had to do those same environmental and stuff for our own signals too?
Yes. It's for any project that you have, requires you to comply with all of those requirements. There are some reasons for that. We are doing some trenching. So whenever you're doing trenching, you might run into some artifacts or things like that. So that you have to be able to answer the questions that you're not going to be doing something that might disrupt something that might be environmentally sensitive. So there's mostly check boxes that we need to address, because obviously everywhere we're going to be working is already completely disturbed. So.
All right.
Should be an easy thing to check.
Even though they would be trenching in an area that was already developed or concrete, like
yes,
utility. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. As we finish this discussion, how would a road? So this is one project that seems to be very promising, at least the results. How does this list get comprised? And obviously, everyone is going to have their opinions on what road should be next, or what area this tool should be addressing. Do we have a priority list, and why were some roads left out of the list I saw?
So we can do this about once a year. By the time you get the counts, perform the analysis, talk to Caltrans, and get it implemented. So what we've been trying to do is every one of the 4 main corridors every 4 years. The one that's up next is California Oaks Road, Calmia. However, over the last few years, haven't been any big changes along California Oaks and Calmia. There have been no huge developments or changes in traffic patterns that might impact that. We've been observing it from the traffic room and then just from our visits out along the road, and haven't noticed any significant changes or disruptions along there. So we feel that pushing that one back maybe another year and doing Murrieta Hot Springs Road might be in the best interest for the next priority one, just because of that's our heaviest traveled road. That has the most traffic on it. It's going to have more traffic, and it's going to have a couple more closely spaced signals.
So there's many ways you could look at the need, I guess, but the pulse on this would be, obviously Hot Springs being the main vein, I guess. New development would also probably impact more, even though new development on one side of town may be an indirect cost to traffic on the other side of town. And so it'd be hard to do that, but I appreciate the insight. I know it's many roads need your help.
Changes in traffic patterns. So if Warm Springs extends to the north, then we'd want to look at that. When Jefferson extends to the north and connects to Wildemar, patterns will change in the city. We'll want to do that. When Monroe Avenue is completed between Los Alamos and Murrieta Hot Springs Road, we would want to look at that too.
There's some triggers that you guys are probably waiting for. And then secondly, we talked about it earlier with the healthcare constraints here. These seconds that matter here, even though an ambulance seems to weave and bob traffic, that's also an indirect benefit to them having to navigate these dangerous waters. And when you're having a stroke or an MI, that's life or death. So great progress. Small steps make significant change in positive ways. So thank you guys for all the work. And it looks like Councilwoman DeForest, you back in?
I'm back in.
Right.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a quick comment is, today I received an email from a resident, and I'll forward it to you and Councilmember Stone as well, because it concerns the colony at Calmia. And they said that there's queuing issues at that entrance off of Cal Oaks, Calmia there. They're just concerned about backing into the road. So, and I know No, it's the entrance off of Calmia or Cal Oaks, the one that's kind of directly across from the fire station.
We do have an actual active water main project going on right through that intersection at Via Havre and Cal Oaks that may be impacting that. We'll have our inspector check that signal for the timing and make sure that that queuing is what it's supposed to be. But thank you for, and if you pass that email on, be happy to look into that.
I'll forward that to you. I think they might have saw traffic and jumped on the bandwagon. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Mayor. That's
Okay. Are you back in? Yeah.
I forgot, I'm going through my notes. I wanted to commend you for the dual left-hand turn on Hancock. That has been a huge success. So thank you so much for doing that.
Are we sure? No. All right, who would like to make a motion? Got a motion by Councilwoman Stone and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Holliday.
I think it's just
receive and file. We win. Victory. Okay.
Remove those.
All right, never mind. I didn't need the motion. Okay, moving on. Approval of ordinance 62926 regulating the sale or distribution of kratom and synthetic 7-OH. City Manager.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'll have a brief introduction of this item. It comes by way of consensus received from a recommended future agenda item from Councilmember DeForest last meeting to essentially consider an ordinance to regulate the sale, distribution, and use of kratom and synthetic 7-OH. We've had a handful of discussions going back to January. This item was first introduced in December to come back for consideration. Staff had presented an ordinance for a ban at that time. There was a little bit of confusion as the state has also issued some guidelines or clarification on its position regarding the legality of kratom. So it took us a couple meetings to kind of get clear on what we wanted to do. I believe the request to bring this back was primarily that there seemed to be broad consensus that regulating kratom so that it was not available for anyone under the age of 21, and then banning the synthetic form of 7-OH. 7-OH is an alkaloid compound that is also naturally occurring in the kratom leaf, generally with a potency less than or roughly equal to 2%. So the ordinance that we put together essentially follows up on that request. To regulate for those under 21 and to ban the synthetic form of the 7-OH. So that's what we presented this evening. We do still have standing direction to bring back a deeper conversation if council is still inclined to consider a greater ban beyond this. Tonight's staff report is relatively brief because it seemed to be the area where there was broad consensus. And so Isaac Bravo, who's done a lot of the research on this, is available if there's questions, but otherwise I'd like to turn it over to Dr. DeForest, who has a brief presentation on the item, and then to council for your consideration.
Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to thank all of my council for bringing this item back for us to review this ordinance. And we're going to go over it with some clarity and transparency for the community as well. So just starting, thank you, City Clerk, for printing these out too. So what's before council today? So what's before council today, that'll be the next slide. Thank you. Is natural kratom legal for adults 21 years and older? Sale ID required, ID verification to protect our youth, and prohibits child attractive packaging. It prohibits products with greater than the 2% 7-hydroxymanganine as 7-OH and the total kratom alkaloids. So, the next page will be our shared goals. It's protecting our youth, maintaining Murrieta's high quality of life standards, product safety, measured regulation, providing tools for our Murrieta Police Department, and this allowing us to have a discussion with professional transparency and understanding of the policy. So, addressing community concerns. We've heard a lot about kratom, and there were a lot of speakers before. And it was all about youth safety, the possibility of how this will affect us community-wide. the need for some medical input, some data, or some analysis. This ordinance is designed to respect all the input, to protect our youth, to regulate high-risk products, to allow adult access to natural kratom, to provide enforcement clarification for our police, and to provide a balanced approach. So, just grounding our discussion and clarifying some statements just from our from our February council meeting. So Murrieta is not experiencing a crisis. So the key points that I think that I'd like just to be heard is we provide clear rules before a problem escalates. We encourage parents in the community to educate our youth now. And when we're looking some statistics, according to the Hill Alcohol and Drug Treatment Center in Temecula, most coroners do not run extended toxicology reports, so the real cause of death might be hidden under a multitude of opioids, including 7-OH. So only a few youth have been encountered in the last few years, but even the limited incidences justify preventative youth protections. Public safety policy should be preventative and not reactive. Smoke shops are reporting a no increase in demand. That's fantastic for our region, but I do believe that clear public safety standards will give retailers good parameters for moving on in the future. This is a citywide ban. No, it is not. This is not a ban. It's a target regulatory framework. So we already know there's been many ordinances passed by Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Temecula, Moreno Valley, and Riverside, just to name a few. So this is going to support regional consistency and prevent Murrieta from becoming an outlier. It supports consistent enforcement efforts regionally and reduces cross-jurisdictional retailer loopholes. So for alignment with our public safety, clear, concise standards to support effective enforcement, clear age verification and sales standards to help reduce youth access to kratom products, and support parents and the community in preventative efforts moving forward, and to address high-potency synthetic kratom products, and the policy supports community-wide safety and awareness. So, with that said, there's one more page. There we go. I was like, wait a minute, that's on the end. So there's a question that I'll pose, and the rest of my council when we have some discussion, but just that we need to have some metrics for our city or for Murrieta Police Department moving forward, and for compliance incidences, complaints, and some statistics. I did talk to our chief earlier today about that as well. And then in this ordinance, the staff had indicated that the agenda report, we may move forward with additional kratom policies or analysis may be brought forward back to the council if the rest of my colleagues see to moving something forward in a time certain. And just for ending, in closing, tonight, we'll hear a variety of ideas, perspectives, and all input is important. What is for us at this meeting is a specific policy, not a ban. And I know that the rest of my colleagues probably received the large number of emails asking, please don't ban the product, but just enforce the policy and just put a policy in place to protect our children. Our responsibility is to ensure that we adopt clear, concise, and enforceable, and we want to protect our community's youth in a measured and responsible way. So we have great ordinance language, we have public safety considerations, enforceability, and it's consistent with regional policies. I thank my colleagues for listening to me, trying to make this very clear, transparent for us to move forward with it and for our community that's listening as well. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Forrest, and I appreciate the presentation. Bringing it up to council for questions, Mr. Holliday, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember DeForest, for that presentation. I read through the entire ordinance, and whoever had input that, in addition to Mr. Bravo, thank you for putting that together. It's, in my opinion, is very well done. I have a couple questions. Madam City Attorney, the county ordinance, does that affect Murrieta?
No, it would apply in the unincorporated parts.
So it's only in the unincorporated county? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. And then I guess this next question is for you as well. When the FDA, I've seen one of the emails that was sent out had a compilation of one of the representatives of the FDA talking about 70H and what they're working on, and they're probably going to ban that completely, or actually not ban it, they're going to make it classified as an illicit drug. When the state or the FDA, because I know there's also legislation at the state level that's working its way through the process, when that goes into effect, what happens to ours?
It depends on if there's overlap. If there's, says the same thing as ours, we could rescind ours. It wouldn't have any force or effect anymore.
It doesn't really matter if we do or don't, though, right?
No, it doesn't matter if we do or don't. It's my understanding that the one in California might only have civil penalties, not criminal penalties. So that would be different than what.
But the FDA, if it classifies it as a class 1 drug.
If it does.
It's going to be
criminal.
A criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could leave ours on the books or take it off. It really doesn't matter at that point. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilwoman DeForest, if this ordinance passes tonight, do you still want to move forward with the follow-up?
No, I'm fine. Oh, thank you. And I just turned it off. I'm fine with if this ordinance passes, just to get it through the second reading and moving forward.
Okay.
And then, you know, in 6 months, a year, if something else is going on and our police department brings something to us that says, hey, you know what, even Kratom is creating an issue and we're seeing more of that, or, you know, moving forward with that, then, of course, then we could all bring it forward. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Whatever
okay.
you.
I just wanted to clarify what your thoughts were on that.
Thank you with that.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can our city attorney explain the difference to our community of a policy and not a ban, and how public safety or the impacts on the policy versus a ban?
Well, could I get clarification on what the policy would be? If you adopt the ordinance, it would establish a regulation that's a law that would make it criminal.
So basically,
to violate.
That's a ban then?
For what is included in there,
Correct.
It's a ban, yes.
So if we vote on this, this is a ban?
Just on 7H, 2% or more.
Right.
Right.
So
natural is not being addressed except for people under 20.
Correct.
Right.
So the specific policy discussed tonight, if passed, it is a ban on 70H, correct?
Yeah, yes, just to clarify, not a full ban. So if you want to parse it.
Right, but on what we're
right.
voting on this evening.
That's right, but not a full ban, right, yes.
Okay, you're saying not a full ban, but if we vote and this passes, it is a ban on what we are voting on this evening.
It's a ban of the synthetic form of 70H.
Correct.
You could consider it a ban or a regulation when you talk about natural kratom being available to those only 21 years or over. So you could either describe that as a ban for everyone under 21, or you could describe it as a regulation setting an age limit.
So basically, it is a ban.
It's safe to, I think, is it both?
Okay, I just want to make sure, because Councilwoman DeForest is basically saying this is a policy, it's not a ban. I just want clarification for what we're voting on, and it doesn't matter if it's a partial ban. She's saying it is not a ban, but what we're voting on tonight is a ban, correct? Okay.
I just put that because there's two components to the policy.
Right.
So the one is not a ban. So, and that seemed to be what our emails were about. And please don't ban the kratom.
Correct.
Where, that's why I said it's not a ban on kratom. Kratom over 21 is
Right.
still fine. So
Correct.
it's not a ban, but the ordinance bans the
Correct.
7-OH, which is the strong, horrible opioid.
The synthetic, correct. I just wanted us to be clear in case people misunderstood this. That if we vote on this, that portion we're voting on will be a ban. I just want clarity. So thank you.
Thank you.
It was a great overview.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Holliday.
Yeah, I would also like to clarify that this regulation is not regulating the possession. Did I read that correctly?
It's the sale, distribution, and use is, I believe, the exact terms used in the ordinance.
It doesn't.
I think possession qualifies in all of those three.
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say possession.
I believe the term is use, so I don't know. It's probably a better question for the city attorney how we split hairs between use and possession.
So section 9.40.040 is the regulation of the sale, distribution, or possession of kratom.
Oh, so it does have possession in there. Okay, so anyone under 21 can't possess it.
Correct.
And
if you adopt this as written.
if it's in any form.
Natural or synthetic?
Correct.
Okay.
Under 21.
Under 21
Okay.
can't possess it at all, and over 21, as long as it contains 2% or less, which is what natural kratom leaf is.
Right.
That is acceptable to have possession, but anything over that, you can't have possession.
For adults, correct.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Actually, I do. Councilwoman DeForest, just to clarify, I think your idea for the revisit, or I don't know if it was said that way, but if you're okay with it, let's just have the chief or someone report back in 6 months and see where we're at, like officially.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think so too. That would be fantastic. Thank you for that idea.
Moving on to public comments. Do we have any interested parties?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Michael DeSena.
How are you, sir?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing well. So I want to clarify something because it's important. Doctor. So the idea of a doctor is someone that's an expert in a field, right? So today I have to say two parts. The first part is I'm a mental health provider. Why is that important? Because my wife would kill me. She's a physician. She likes the distinction. The second reason is because this is a topic that both crosses the line between physician, mental health. We heard or saw from Councilmember DeForest on getting information from Hill. So I'm going to speak a little bit. I wrote a little something down on the topic. So we cannot ignore the lived experience of millions. For many, kratom serves as a vital bridge, a tool of harm reduction in an era of opioid overprescription. Its primary alkaloids and 7-hydroxymidogreen, yeah, that word, act as... Been practicing it. No. Act as a partial mu opioid receptor agonist. This is a crucial distinction. Unlike traditional opioids, kratom does not appear to recruit beta-arrestin, the pathway largely responsible for the respiratory depression that makes narcotics fatal. For this, the person managing chronic pain and seeking an exit ramp from synthetic substances, this represents a significant safer profile when used responsibly. However, natural is not a synonym for safe. We must be intellectually honest about the risk. Kratom can be a habit forming. Its unique profile means withdrawal can be multifaceted, affecting opioid, energetic, and serotonergic pathways. Furthermore, the current unregulated market is a minefield. Without standardized testing, consumers are at risk of heavy metal contaminations and adulterations. To advocate for kratom without advocating for strict good manufacturing practices is frankly dangerous. The intelligent path forward isn't prohibition, which only fuels the black market, nor is it total laissez-faire. It is the Kratom Consumer Protection Act. We need age restrictions, clear labeling of alkaloid content, and independent lab testing. We must educate the public that Kratom is a substance for adults who understand the trade-offs of its chemistry. Let's stop treating Kratom as a political football and start treating it as a complex botanical that requires a sophisticated regulatory framework. Our goal should be to preserve access for those who benefit from it while providing the safety guardrails that every citizen deserves. And working at Loma Linda in their detox, well, they're not really a detox, but in their substance use department, oh man, that goes fast. What I realize is that we're overprescribing a lot of drugs out there. And, I'm not going to talk about physicians. Again, my wife would kill me, but there is a lot out there, pain management clinics, and Kratom does create a safer alternative, but there are risks to it. So I'm glad it is being discussed today, specifically with our population over 21. But I also think we should look at the population 18 to 21 also that suffer with chronic pain for that 2%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for speaking tonight. Have a good night.
That concludes public comment.
Okay, bringing it back up for council discussion. Mr. Holliday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam City Attorney, I'm looking at the ordinance, and 9.40.040 says regulation of the sale, distribution, or possession of Kratom. But where below that does it talk about regulating the possession? Am I missing it? I see A, B, C, and D, and they all talk about you can't sell it, offer it, provide it, sell, attempt to sell, offer, provide, or distribute, unlawful to sell, attempt to sell, any individual business or other entity attempts to sell, and unlawful to offer for sale. I don't see anything in A, B, C, and D that does what the title of the ordinance says for possession.
Yeah, I agree with you as I read it right now. Maybe or possession was left over from a prior iteration of it, because we did revise this a few times.
Can you do any of those things without possessing it? Like, what would be left to do?
So this makes the vendor responsible, not the possessor. So
which I'm fine with, by the way.
Right.
I'm fine making the businesses responsible and enforcing it against those if they're breaking the law.
I agree.
I think it's a fool's errand to try and go after people that may be in possession of it. I think it would be costly for our police department to try and enforce that. So I would, once we get to that point, I would suggest we strike possession out of that ordinance in the two places that it appears.
Thank you for the comment. Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you. Not knowing 2 months ago what Kratom was, I've done a very deep dive in this. Very deep, deeper than I ever thought I would. The U.S. and international agencies have expressed concern that Kratom products may cause serious harm. Kratom products may contain harmful contaminants such as bacteria and heavy metals, which was mentioned earlier. Adverse effects range from mild to severe. Small number of deaths have been linked to Kratom products compared to deaths from other drugs. Drug interactions may influence effects. Long-term health and safety effects are not well understood. Effects on pregnancy are not well understood. Very little research is available on Kratom use before, during, or after pregnancy, but there have been reports of opioid-like neonatal abstinence syndrome in infants born to women who regularly use Kratom. Safety effects of intoxication are not well understood. That being said, one of my biggest concerns is without strong regulations on the sale and distribution of natural Kratom or in a synthetic formula, today a person can order what they believe to be true form of natural Kratom and get the product they ordered online. However, tomorrow another person might order from a different site and that order could be a death sentence laced with anything. We have already seen that scenario play out across the nation and in this region with college students ordering a medication from the internet, not knowing it was laced with fentanyl, with devastating outcomes for the student and their family. Additionally, it has been reported of taking natural Kratom kratom in conjunction with other drugs, prescriptions, or even alcohol. That too could have harming effects. There are huge arguments on all sides of this topic, just depending on where the person stands on the issue. This ordinance, if passes, is a first step in keeping Murrieta safe. But I strongly urge our federal and state government agencies to make this a priority, presenting all the facts to the public for a decision on this issue. I also ask that our staff keep us updated on any issues they see happening in our city regarding any form of kratom, and a 6-month report and a yearly report would be really great as well. Thank you for giving me the time to speak. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Councilwoman Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I received an email today. Governor Newsom announces its 95 compliance with prohibition of illegal kratom products. So since Sacramento does not have a law, Gavin Newsom is doing a state comprehensive effort to crack down on dangerous and illegal drugs from store shelves. Governor Gavin Newsom today announced 95% compliance rate from California businesses with the removal of kratom products from businesses. And this is the synthetic kratom. I want to share a quick little story. I grew up in the travel business. My mother owned a travel business. And in the early 80s, my mother and I were one of the very first Americans into China. And the people were still in their uniforms. There were no modern facilities whatsoever in China. So it's been 40, 50 years later, and I understand it looks like New York City. My mother fell, and she thought she broke her ankle, and she went to the emergency room, and it's not like an emergency room that you would think of here in the United States. And they had an X-ray machine that looked like it was the very first X-ray machine ever created. And thank God her ankle was not broken. And the doctor rubbed a salve on her ankle, down her foot, up her thigh, and he wrapped it, and he told her not to remove it until she got home. And then he wanted to give her pain control, inflammation, and bruising. And we went into the pharmacy, and there were 1,000 jars of plants and herbs. And the doctor pulled from these jars, and he rolled these little pellets. And he told my mother to take it. That would help with the pain and the inflammation. Of course, she didn't. She was afraid. My brother, who's a pharmacist, she brought back the pellets, and she said, "Here, tell me what this is." He's like, "Mother, that's natural. I'm a pharmacist. I can't tell you what that is." But when we unwrapped her bandage, you could see the fingerprints in the doctor on her foot and on her ankle. There was no bruising, no inflammation, and where he had missed it, you could see the bruising and the inflammation. And where I'm going with this is, I appreciate Councilwoman DeForest for bringing this back. I appreciate the fact that, and I think we can all concur that this is about protecting our children. Absolutely. There's no doubt that we will do everything and anything to mitigate any type of drugs that we humanly possibly can here in the city of Murrieta. But what was explained to me was the Asian culture, they rely on Mother Earth to help with remedies of healing. And if we decide to bring this back for discussion, I would really like some experts to come talk to us about the natural kratom, and I'm talking about 21 and older, because it is a cultural way of remedying any type of illness from Mother Earth. And we have such a large Asian population that I just want to make sure that we will do the right thing. So I do commend you, Councilwoman DeForest, for protecting our children. And of course, I stand with you in protecting our children. So thank you. And that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
You may.
Councilwoman DeForest, would you accept amending your motion for this ordinance to eliminate all the references to possession?
That's fine, we can amend that. Possession's not an issue.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So that would be my amended motion, and I will second Councilmember
One second.
DeForest.
I'm not done. I want to introduce Dr. Grock for a second. Oh. How do you make, oh, here we go.
Press play.
Well, he was gonna pronounce that M word, so whatever. I thought I knew how to use that. Is that really, that's it?
Say it again.
Wow. You're convincing, I'll tell you that much, yeah. Hydromitragynine. Hydromitragynine. It's a cool word. Okay. This.
Okay, fine.
All right. Let me turn her off. This one, Kratom sits really close to me. I kind of alluded to it a couple council meetings ago. This has been challenging because while I agree with everything Councilwoman DeForest just presented, the infringement of like an adult choosing things for themselves and not infringing on the liberties that you don't want the government overstepping into those things. And, Kratom is fairly new in the discussion, but it's not new to the world. I appreciate council's discussion and, kind of holding the reins for this discussion, for doing what's best for our community. There are lots of considerations in these discussions, and they're very sensitive because they do affect all walks of life in different ways. And so I think we have a great path forward here. And I was going to make the motion to support this, but it looks like I already have a motion by Councilwoman DeForest, and I have a second by Mr. Holliday. So if we may get the voting.
Is that the amended motion?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion by Councilmember DeForest and a second by Councilmember Holliday.
Yes.
And that is to amend Murrieta Municipal Code by adding new chapter 9.40, thereof regulating the sale and distribution of kratom and synthetic 70H. Is that correct?
Yes.
Madam City Attorney, is that okay during the first reading? Okay.
Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Excellent.
And I'm sorry, if I could clarify, so is the direction also return back in 6 months and then a year thereafter, and then 6 months thereafter? Yes, I'm getting was there consensus for that, Mayor?
Yes, there was.
And is that a withdrawal then of the bringing back?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
With that, are you going to go over reconsideration? I would like that.
Now is the time for council member requests to add or withdraw items to future agendas. There will be no discussion on the request. A brief explanation of the request may be given. The merit of the item being requested may not be discussed or debated. Are there any council requests?
I have a clarity question for Mr. Justin. We've talked about it last time in the City Council Goals Workshop, and then Cameron brought it up. The ad hoc for the Equestrian Center, when's the appropriate time to talk about that? Should I do that now?
Future agenda items?
Okay. Oh, I skipped ahead.
The next one.
Okay, living in the future. Never mind.
Literally.
Seeing no considerations, now is the time for council member requests to add or withdraw items to future agendas. There will be no discussion on the request. A brief explanation of the request may be given. Merits of the items must be requested. Mayor Lavelle?
Yes, I will repeat that same question or statement. The Equestrian Center Ad Hoc Committee, I think it's time to saddle up and see if we can do that.
Jeez.
Do I have any consensus?
I'll give you consensus and I'll jump on the saddle.
Okay. Councilwoman DeForest.
I know we had that subcommittee done before a decade ago or so. I think what I would say is let's not throw all that work out that ad hoc committee had done before. Let's bring that all forward to the new ad hoc committee, but I would support it.
Of course. Support from me as well, obviously, as the mover and shaker, but I also like to sit on it with you if you'll have me. Okay. No, we can't talk about that.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
Never mind, I don't want to do it.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about it.
Okay, then that's good. Okay, moving on. Councilwoman DeForest.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually had that on my list as well. Also I think that we need to add back the Southwest Riverside Higher Education Coalition to also onto our commissions for some, that seems to have jumped off. I don't know when, because it was on for a while and then it's not on now, but anyway, moving forward, I'd like to add it back or add it in general.
Can we talk about what it would be first before we bring it back?
Yeah, she wants to bring it back.
Okay.
Yeah, bring it back so we can do that.
Okay.
Thank you. And then the other thing I would just like to bring forward is for a future agenda item is, as a lot of you know, Roger Schultz, president of MSJC, is retiring and is putting together a tribute campaign. He wants to emphasize how essential all the city's support is on this stage of his campaign. So he is inviting us from the foundation board to move forward with other cities and support. The University Center is his first ask, with 85% of the funds going to that, any monies raised. He has a $100,000 goal by June 30th, and there are several events coming up that...
Sorry, we can only briefly discuss whether to have a discussion about it. We shouldn't be going to that level of detail right now.
Okay, sorry. So I just would like to see if I would get consensus in a donation made on behalf of the city of Murrieta to match other cities' donations moving to Roger Schultz retirement.
Do you want to bring that back for consideration?
For consideration, yes.
I'll talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I went into too much detail. I was reading a really long text.
Councilwoman Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to bring back a consideration for an ad hoc committee for Tour de Murrieta being a signature event for the city of Murrieta.
It is a signature event.
Well, a partnership.
Okay.
Actually.
Sure.
Yes.
Thumbs up from me. And then last and least, Mr. Holliday.
I would like to have on a future agenda item having an ad hoc committee for the ballot measure that we talked about at the goal setting session.
I concur and agree.
Yeah, downtown standard. Yes. Downtown. Hi, Trey.
Did you on there?
I'm trying to get on there.
Oh. Councilwoman Warren.
And future agenda, one more, an ad hoc committee to review the design standards for downtown Murrieta. Thank you.
Should have just called for an ad hoc committee meeting.
Yeah.
Creation meeting. That's all? I think that's all. Okay.
Yes, I give you consensus.
Yes, she had.
We need 3. You're good? Okay.
Okay, where are we at?
I don't know.
Public comments. Non-agendized closed session public comments. Do we have any comments, Madam City Clerk?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And then please announce the items for closed session. Madam City Clerk.
City Council, thank you. City Council will conduct closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 with city manager, assistant city manager, deputy city manager, city attorney, and the city's negotiators regarding labor negotiations with Murrieta Police Officers Association, Murrieta Police Management Association, Murrieta Firefighters Association, and Murrieta Fire Management Association. City Council will conduct closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4, The city is considering whether to initiate litigation in one case. And finally, City Council will conduct a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.92. There is significant exposure to litigation in one case.
Thank you much. At this time, we are recessing to closed session. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back. I believe it's still Tuesday. Madam City Clerk, can we have, or Madam City Attorney, can we please have a report out on closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on 3 items. The first item was to confer with labor negotiators. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, the council was updated, no reportable action. The second item was anticipated litigation. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, D4. On this item, the council was updated. They asked questions, no reportable action. The last item was also anticipation, but this was significant exposure to litigation in one case pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2. In this item, the council discussed and asked questions, no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you. And in true nature of collaboration and showing unity in council, I'm going to right a wrong. Mr. Holliday, would you please adjourn us by the swing of the gavel?